Slaughter Daughter, the badass bitch. Welcome to the Slaughter Daughter house. I am Kelly Slaughter Daughter Remus. I am here today with Xazyl from Sgt Slaughters Slaughterhouse. Always love to have you around, Xazyl.
Thank you.
And my dad, Sergeant Slaughter.
I didn't know if they'd know who was who.
Well, hang on. Wait a minute.
Oh, there you
Hey,
go.
there we go.
Now we know.
That's it.
The resemblance is uncanny, Dad, when you had a beard.
That's right.
Oh, if you can't really tell, but I'm wearing the.
Oh,
okay.
nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Love it.
You
Love
must
it.
know
Yeah,
somebody.
we just filmed.
Yeah.
Who do you know?
I'm in the know. Yeah.
We just filmed part 1 with Xazyl, and during that we gave you a package, and that was in the package.
Thank you very
Very
much, guys.
You're welcome. So, Dad.
Did you tell him that's only rented? He has to send it back.
Okay. Well, I'll try not to spill any chips on it.
All right.
So, Dad.
Yes,
So, something happened recently.
sure did. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So
That's out of the bag. There he is. All right, you maggots. Sergeant Slaughter has returned to G.I. Joe, the real American hero. What do you think of my new outfit?
Looks awesome.
You
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
see my
It looks
lips
great.
move, did you?
Is that ventriloquist act again?
Yes. Looks like I'm going to have to get back into the gym.
I can train you.
Okay.
Yes, that's true, Kelly. You're very, very active on social media, showing us your after workout photos with a big smile on your face. And I don't know how you do it.
I love it.
How
I
about
love my
them
work.
guns? How about showing us some guns?
Oh yes. Hold on a moment.
There you go. There they are. Ooh, baby. That's a gun rack right there.
The Kelly cannons.
Lot of hard work
That's
goes into
right.
that, let me tell you. And I'm not even close to being done. I'm actually training for a Spartan race at the end of
Great.
July.
Great.
And it's called the Super. I'm sure there's people out there watching that know exactly what I'm talking about. And I did one at the beginning of April. It was my first one. I didn't train
Congratulations.
for it. Thank you. I didn't train for it except for the classes that I was already taking at the Y. And I fell in love with it. In fact, somebody on my team jokingly said after we had gone through the mud pits, like cold water, very frigid water. The first mud thing I went in, I slid and fell. Was lucky to keep my head above the water, but I completely submerged up to my chin in cold, muddy water. Then had to get out into the cold air and wind because it was windy. It was that part I didn't like. It was miserable being cold like that, but everything
Good for the
else,
skin, though, right?
That'll keep
the
you moving.
mud. So, well, no, I was like, okay, guys, I'm going to run ahead a little bit because, you run and you get hot. And I was like, no, it makes it colder. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to. Oh, it was so cold. That was miserable. But everything else I love. So it was after I had to do that 4 times.
Oh.
And then you're climbing a slippery, muddy wall, and it was in North Carolina. So it's Carolina clay is what our soil is. It's clay,
Right.
which is very slippery when wet.
Mm.
At one point, I was like digging my hands and trying to pull myself up because I couldn't get a hold. And anyway, so after all of that, one of my teammates jokingly said to everyone, so you guys want to do this next Saturday? And they were all kind of like, no. And I was like, yeah. Are you kidding? I would totally do this every single Saturday. And they were like looking at me like, you are crazy. And I was like, yes, I am.
Well, that explains why you're able to smile at the end of every workout, because you've forgotten what you've already gone through.
Yeah. I mean, when I do body combat, which is like I guess a version of kickboxing, we do a bunch of different martial arts in it. And when I do that class, I get out all my frustration, all my anger. It's an invisible opponent that you're fighting. So you can imagine whoever you want. There's no bag. You got the mirrors in front of you, so you can picture whatever you want. And I love it because that's where I get out all of my pent up anger.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And just, I feel like a badass when I take that class. And I really zone, I'm up front and I zone into myself in the mirror. And I picture that I'm the only one there and the instructor is talking to me. So every time she says something and is saying like somehow to fix your form, I think they're talking to me. So I always check myself, make sure I've got good form. I don't want to get hurt.
Right.
So, it's just me and my opponent, and I'm kicking their fucking ass.
Nice.
Because they don't fight back when you're in body combat. So it's a great time. So I love it. But I fell in love with the Spartan races, and now I'm training for the Super, which is a 10K.
Right.
25 obstacles. If you can't do an obstacle, there's a penalty you have to do.
And what's the penalty?
30 burpees. So some of them it's 30 burpees, and then some of them it's a penalty loop that you have to run.
Right.
So it depends on the obstacle that you weren't able to complete.
Okay.
So there was some girls on my team that did not want to get wet. So they went around the mud pits, and I was like, oh, hell no, I'm going in that shit. I'm trying every single obstacle. And if I can't complete it, I'll do the penalty, but at least I tried.
So how many penalties did you end up having to do?
5.
That's not so bad.
Out of 20.
Yeah.
Out of 20.
That's not so bad.
So a lot less than you used to have to do when I got you up in the morning to go to school and you have to go through the slaughterhouse obstacle course.
What did that involve?
Nothing. Me having to navigate my room in the mess that it was.
Yeah, I can relate. Yeah.
We always played Reveille every morning at the slaughterhouse.
Oh, yes?
Yeah, Camp Slaughter was always in session. Boy,
no time to rest.
Love it when I was out of town.
Up at 0600?
0600.
Yeah.
Up and at
good luck getting me up that early.
I was up at 0500 this morning.
I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent about my
Spartan
Spartan race and everything. Got really excited about it.
Yeah, no. Next time you think you're going to run around a butthole, you'll go right through it.
Yes, as long as I have the correct shoes on.
You'll think about what you just told Xazyl on it, and you're going to do it.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it. I mean, I got to one obstacle, which was, so I tried every single obstacle except for one. And that obstacle, I knew I could not do. I knew I couldn't do it. And it was that obstacle, which was the rope climb.
Right.
And then you have to ring a bell at the top. That was not happening. And I had already had to go past one that I could have done if my hands didn't hurt so bad because they were so old. And I had that was a rope climb up incline.
Yeah.
So you like lean back and do that. Yep. I totally could have done that if I could have felt my hands. And what I did feel was pain.
Right.
Every time I was like, oh my God, no, I can't. It hurts too bad. So I took the penalty for that. But I knew there's no way. I can't even try it because I can't.
Straight up a rope to hit a bell.
Straight up a rope to hit a bell.
Wow. Nah, burpees, thanks.
So, I did the burpees for that one. And then I had to climb an inverted, I don't know what they're called, like canvas, it's like a grid. I can't think of the name of it right now. It's like made out of canvas, and you go up one way and down the other, and you have to climb up and then back down, and then you jump. We were jumping over a line of fire.
Right, that's cool.
So we had to jump over fire and then into the finish line. So at the end, you're freezing. You jump over that fire, and you're like, "Oh, can I go back to that fire, please?" So you get, and then you're like, "Yes, I fucking did it!"
Yeah.
You feel like a freaking badass. You just ran a fucking Spartan. This is what the Spartan. It's like Spartan inspired. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you like feel like a badass bitch.
Like a badass. Yeah. I did see that photo of you and your friends all jumping over the fire there, and it was impactful.
Yeah. I got some good pictures. I was a little, thank you.
Yeah, well done.
I was a little disappointed. Thank you. I was a little disappointed that they didn't have a photographer at the mud pits.
Oh, okay.
Like the pictures you could get there. Are you kidding me? At one point, I stood up and I was on top of the mud pit, and I was like maybe the third one. So I was like, feeling it, but also still feeling like a badass bitch. And part of my team that didn't go was standing on the other side, and I was looking at him, and I was just like, yeah.
You got to bring your own photographer next time. Maybe Dad will show up, and Dad can do some promo work for you.
Falling in the water and the faces people make in there because it was cold. You know what I mean? That would have been great photography. So if you're listening, Spartan, please put some photographers there.
I will say briefly, Mr. Remus, there's always a lot of comments whenever you're on a live signing, or even on Kelly's recent videos, where people are saying how great you're looking. And I think I read a comment that said, "How do you keep in shape? Have you got a secret?"
Having 2 daughters and 4 grandchildren keep me in pretty good shape.
Yeah, that will do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and always trying to strive back to get to them, and their mom too. Yeah.
Your family keeps you young.
I really don't have any secrets. I just enjoy the compliments. I don't know what people say to me. You look like you did when you were wrestling 40 years ago.
Yeah.
I just kid around and say, well, it must be my mustache.
It's the
well, either that, or they're saying you look just as old then as you do now. Which way is it?
But I really don't have any secrets. I never was a big workout freak, and I ran for a while. Kept in shape that way, but basically I just live every day kind of the same way. I take a lot of vitamins in the morning and make sure that I do that every day. Eat a couple bananas every day for potassium. I really don't know what the secret is, if there is a secret, but I'm still here.
Vitamins and bananas.
Yeah.
All right. We'll have a banana later.
Yeah.
A lot of love and caring, and your story reminded me, Kelly, of when I first told your mother that I was going to go into professional wrestling. I just kind of fell into it one day, and every weekend we would play poker on a Friday night with our friends, and this was a Thursday that I went to the training camp, not physically. I did it physically, but I wasn't scheduled to be there. I just happened to be there, and I went through this horrible initiation into a professional wrestling ring. And when I left, I basically said, "That's what I want to do." And so the trainer told me, "If you want to do it, next year we'll have another camp, and you're more than welcome to go through it." So that was a Thursday night. Friday night, I went to work on my normal job, being a roofer with my father. And that night when we went to play poker, we always played for a while, and then we would stop and have something to eat or take a break. And so my friends were saying, so what's going on, Bob? What are you going to be doing these days, and what's coming up? And I said, well, I'm going to be a professional wrestler. And Kelly's mother looked over at me and said, what? I said, yeah. I started telling everybody how I went through this training camp thing, and so I said, the coach said that I could try it next year, so I'm going to give it a shot. And Kelly's mom looked over at me and said, professional wrestler? I said, yeah. She said, the hell you are. I said, the hell I'm not. Deal them. So, Kelly's mother and I have always been very competitive. When any time we play Scrabble or we play cards or poker, even when we play with our grandchildren, we don't back off. We make them learn the right way,
Right.
Don't be crying because you lost,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So that, anyway, so those words, the hell you are, every time I wanted to quit, going through those mud holes and over those ropes and all through the obstacle course, and the harder they made it for me, all I kept hearing was those words, the hell you are.
The hell you are.
That motivated me every time I wanted to quit. And there were many times that I really wanted to quit, and they wanted you to quit. That was their object.
Yeah.
Right.
Objective was to try to see if you really wanted it. So there was 100 and some guys that went into my training camp, and only 3 of us did. So it was tough, but the motivation of just hearing my wife's voice saying, the hell you are, I was going to show her that I was going to do it. So I did it. But,
I can relate to that. Yeah. If they tell you not to do it, you want to do it twice as much. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
You tell me not to. Yeah. You tell me not to do something. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
In fact, I tell my parents all the time, why didn't you realize that? Like, just tell me I could do it, and then I wouldn't have wanted to do it anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Tell them you think it's cool too.
Be like, yeah, go ahead. That's cool. I would have been like, oh, well, no, and then I'm not going to do it. So, Dad, there was a commercial that you were telling me about.
Yes.
Oh, you want me to play it first?
Yeah, let's play it.
Yeah, let's play it.
I have no idea what.
Okay.
I'm like, what is this, and why does he want to talk about it?
All right, here we go.
We don't care! No down payment! We still don't care! Don't make your payment!
Oh.
That's right, then we care! We're Nord Motor Company, located a mile west of Anoka on Highway 10. And with payments as low as $82 a month. That didn't hurt much, did it?
$82.
Yes. Yep. That happens to be a gentleman from Minnesota, by the name of John Nord, who was a professional wrestler. And there's a magazine that his picture is in, and he played a cast of different characters. I believe some of his first character was Lord the Barbarian, and then he was Yukon John and the Viking. And for a lot of wrestling fans out there, especially WWE, he was the Berserker.
Right.
Just a sweetheart of a guy, about 6'9", 6'10", and he just was a fun guy to be around. And I saw his picture in a magazine, and I looked up his, because when he had a used car lot with his father, I believe it was, in Anoka, Minnesota, as he said. And I found it on on Google, and I wanted to have Kelly play it because I don't know if a lot of people know this, but a lot of wrestlers came out of the state of Minnesota. And I won't name them all. I won't remember them all. But Jesse Ventura became the governor of Minnesota. Bert Gagne, who trained me, his son, Great Gagne. Larry and Kurt Henning, Kurt's son, Curtis Axel, Rick Rude, Sean Waltman, who was the 1-2-3 Kid, Xbox, Nikita Koloff, Molly Holly, Bob Backlund, Brock Lesnar, Paul Ellery, Animal Hawk,
Ric Flair,
Eric Rowland, a character by the name of Nails, Ole and Gene Anderson, Kenny J, Scott Norton, Barry Darsow, Brad Reagan, Jim Brunzell, Scott Irwin, Wayne Bloom, Mike Enos, Baron von Raschke, and Ken Anderson, Otis, who's a big star right now in the WWE. All these guys came out of Minnesota. I know I'm missing lots of names. And,
if you just mentioned everybody that wasn't from Minnesota, that might have been a smaller list.
I know. I'm like, I should have counted this. You'll have to do a count.
Yeah, tally it up. Yeah.
Not sure if it was the water or what it was, but even our directors, Al DeRusha, his son, Gary, a fellow that I did my first live interview with, Marty O'Neill, Eric Bischoff, a huge name in the wrestling business, WCW. He ran the WCW. And when I met him, he couldn't even do a promo. We'd tell him how to do it. Two guys I went through my training camp with, Paul Pershman, Chris Taylor. Chris wasn't from Minnesota, but he went to the training camp. I just got to thinking when I was talking about this podcast. I was trying to reminisce and think about all the wrestlers that have come out of one state.
Yeah.
Pretty mind-boggling.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah. And like
I'll have to do some research and see.
Missed a couple of names. I know there was a girl by her. She went by the character ODB, one of the better, performers in our business, and a couple other ladies that I just haven't mentioned their names, and there's other male wrestlers that I didn't mention names, but it just really, really amazing what came out of Minnesota. So that's why I wanted to kind of play that, because John was a fun, happy guy. He still is, and ran at some hard times, but I just thought I'd have you play that in case he might happen to watch this and somebody knows him.
It's a great commercial.
Show him. Yeah.
Dropping him right through the windshield.
Yeah. Imagine how many times do you think they had to shoot that?
Yeah.
Well, you'd only want to do it once.
Right.
I always wanted to do a replay of it, down in North Carolina or someplace like that, because Kelly and I have a friend. His name is Julio. We call him Julio.
Julio.
He was a friend of another friend of ours, Don Cardolo, and his name is Jeff Doucette, and he's a used car salesman. And I keep telling him, let's do a promo for your company and for your used car lot. And I want to now that I found this tape, I've been explaining it to him for the last 4 or 5 years. It would really be a fun thing to do, where I pick up somebody and slam them on the hood of a car. Maybe even him, because he could be, since he owns the company, he could be the one that's laying there and say a few words at the end. Yeah, please call.
Help me.
Just fun stuff.
So, Dad, as you've been talking, I just happened to have this magazine.
Oh, wow! I think that might be the magazine I saw. John, can you look in there and see if he's the Viking in that thing?
If who? What do you want me to look for?
look for John Lord. I think he was the Viking or something like that.
Let's see.
I don't want to make you have to look through the whole magazine. He had like a big Vikings helmet on, like from Minnesota. There he is.
That's it. Let me bring that up.
That's the gentleman I was just talking about, John Nord.
That's him.
Funny story. John got in a little trouble up in Canada, and so yeah, there he is. Just recently, I did a interview at the slaughterhouse, the Remus Roost, and a company came in, A&E, and they wanted to ask questions about the Iron Sheik. They're doing a biography on him, and so I said, "Yeah, come on in." So I'm being very delicate because you don't want to tell anything out of text or that somebody shouldn't know. And
yeah, because you've never spoiled anything or let out anything out of the bag. Yeah. You're not known for it. No.
We've heard of those stories, but do you have something really juicy?
Yeah.
That nobody knows about? I said, well, yeah, I got some stories about the Iron Sheik, but I should tell them. They said, well, he okayed it. What do you mean he okayed it? He let the cat out of the bag. After he wrote his book, he said nothing's off limits. Nothing's off limits.
Yeah.
So ask the other wrestlers, and they can say whatever they want. I said, okie dokie. Okay, here we go. So one of the stories I told was about John Nord, and we were going to customs in Canada. And I was the agent for the show. I was the production manager. And my job was to get all the guys off the airplane, take a head count, make sure nobody was missing, so they get all through customs, and make sure they got through without any problems. And then I got them all to the arena. So I'm the last one. And as I get through, I'm thinking, I did a pretty good job. And as I come through, the Iron Sheik and this John Nord are face to face. And John Nord is yelling and screaming. It's about ready to start going at it with the Iron Sheik. And I thought,
right.
What the world could have happened from the time they just... So I came up to John and I said, John, what's the problem? He said, sorry, come over. That crazy son of a bitch took drugs out of his bag before they went to the and put them in my bag.
Oh no!
I said, "What?" Yeah, he took his drugs, unzipped my bag, and as they're going through the conveyor belt, they got through. And when they got through, he came over to my bag, unzipped the bag. I said, what are you doing? He said, "Oh, brother. I can't get caught with the gimmick. And John said, what is wrong with you? What is wrong? And he's like ready to start choking him.
Oh, man.
He says, Sergeant, I cannot get caught. I cannot go. And John takes me aside and says, Sergeant, I have a felony in Canada. If they would have found those drugs, I would never get out of this country alive. I'll be here the rest of my life. I said, oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
So I get in the buses or however, get your rental cars and hit the building. So I get to the building. There was always a room separate for the production managers and the agents that ran the show. And they always had phones in them. So no more than I walked in at 5 o'clock before the show, the phone's ringing. Hello? Sarge? Yep. Vince. Oh, hey, Vince. What's this I hear about John Nord? And how did you hear about that? That was 10 minutes ago.
There's a rat somewhere.
Some rat will, call Vince or call somebody and told him. He said, put the Sheik on the phone. I said, hang on. You want me to hang up and call you back? No. So I go to the locker room. Cheeky. Yeah, come in here. Someone wants to talk to you. Yes, Mr. McMahon. Yes. Okay. Yes, sir. Goodbye. Have a good day. Hands me back the phone. What did he say? I'm fired. I go home. What? You're going home? Yeah, I go home. Off he goes. Yes, sir. He's fired, put so-and-so, and he changed the card around on the telephone. Okay. That
Wow.
That happened to poor John there. He reminded me of that. So I told that story on A&E. You'll probably see it again when they hear that. But that's kind of crazy stuff that goes on.
That's cheeky. That's very cheeky.
That's a very credible story, and that's very that could have ended very badly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in many different ways.
Yeah.
But the Sheik is now, he's clean. He's forgiven him.
That's good.
Kind of apologized to a lot of people, and
he's made his amends.
He put his family through hell, and
right.
There's stories that you'll hear till the end of time about him and some of the things that went on. It's just crazy things. But that was one story that I had to tell, and when John was such an innocent bystander, just standing there.
Well, he did have a felony, so he's not so innocent.
Yeah. Luckily, nothing happened there. We got by with it. And here we are. Time still ticking, going on.
So there's this article in here. It's actually a quite lengthy article. By the way, this is the WWF magazine from April 1991. I forgot to mention that.
1991. That's
1991. April 1991.
Is that the Royal Rumble?
Royal Rumble. So there was a new champion.
Right. Let me.
Something like that.
That's me. That's me. That's
Look at that.
Quite the story. What happened is when I came back and I disappointed every child, woman, and adult in the world, from G.I. Joe to become an Iraqi sympathizer, they wanted to do something nice, short, and sweet. Keep bringing the Sarge back in as an Iraqi sympathizer because Vince McMahon wanted to have Hulk Hogan and I headline WrestleMania 7. So in the meantime, taking it nice and slow, sped up because one morning.
Sorry.
One morning, look at that. That's Sensational Sherry.
Yeah.
He's got her above his head. He was a strong son of a gun, but she was a tough egg too. He didn't mess around with Sensational Sherry.
Oh no!
Knocked out more guys than I can tell you.
Oh yeah.
But the whole idea was just to bring me back nice and slow, so people could really dislike me more and more and more and more. So one night, there's the purple belt that I won that night in Miami, Florida, against the Ultimate Puke.
And I understand you still have that belt?
I do.
Another worst kept secret?
Yes. But anyway, one night
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dad, but didn't someone on Twitter, some fool, say that wasn't the real belt? That you didn't have the actual belt?
No, it was the United States Heavyweight Championship that I have.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah.
They didn't think that I had that one, but I had it all refurbished.
Well, no, they said that this wasn't the belt that you have wasn't the original belt, and you were like, ask Ultimate Warrior. It was his title.
Right.
Yeah.
I think every time you throw up an image of the belts that you have, Sarge, someone's going to jump on there and say it's not real.
Oh yeah, everybody Nobody's gonna
I mean, why would you have a fake one? You're not a fan. You're you're actually Sergeant
Right.
Slaughter.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. And
cool.
he had a bit of a problem with the office at that point. And so when he did lose the title, he didn't bring, he had like 4 or 5 different colored ones. And that night he had the purple one. And that night, Hogan and I were supposed to do a promo photo package, and Hogan was so mad because the purple
This
belt
one
was there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, let me bring that up. That is a great image.
That's the night that we did that. Same night that I won the title. So I never wore the title. I only put it on my shoulder and held it up over my head in the ring. That's the only time I touched it.
Yeah, that's great. Is he really that much taller than you?
Well, there's another story behind that too. Yeah, he wasn't real happy because the black belt wasn't there, because he knew that these were promos for WrestleMania 7. And so he kept saying to Vince McMahon, "Where's the black belt? Where's the black belt?" Well, he didn't bring the black belt, Hulk. He didn't bring the black belt, but that's what Sarge won, and that's history. He's got to have the purple belt on his shoulder because that's the one he won.
right.
So to pour more coal on the fire, this is at 3 o'clock. Pour more coal on the fire. Pour more gas on the fire. Excuse me. Put more gas on the fire.
I was going with it. Yeah.
Cool on the fireworks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
3 o'clock in the morning, we're doing these promos, and of course we've been done wrestling for 5 hours. So Hulk's in his spare feet, and I've still got my boots on. So Vince comes over and says something to Terry, and the next thing I know, here comes a box.
Wow.
Because Vince wanted him taller than me.
Yeah.
For the shot. And because he didn't have his boots on, he was shorter than me.
Yeah.
And he was pretty much shorter than me without the box. But that's another story. Anyway.
There's always another story.
The boots were a tall story.
Right.
But anyway, so all what happened to get to this point was one night Vince McMahon called me and said there's a change in plans. What's the change? Randy Savage broke his hand last night in a match with the Ultimate Warrior. He's going to be out for about 6 weeks. So you're going to take his place in all of his matches. He said, I hope you're in shape. I said, I'll have to get in shape. So I heard those little words, the hell you are.
Right.
So, anyway, so at this point, they're already into cage matches, no holds barred matches, all these matches. And Sherry Martel is Macho Man's manager. So Vince said, she'll be your manager at this point. So I said, okay. So we're in these rough, tough, horrible types of matches. And so the night of the Royal Rumble, when I was wrestling the Ultimate Warrior for the title, out of nowhere, here comes Randy's Macho Man Savage. And at this point, I had gotten rid of Sherry. I now have General Adnan as my manager. And we got the whole Iraqi thing going on. And the Iraqi flag. And I got the curly boots. And
That's really when
I'm wearing the shawl and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Up until that point, you're a heel, but you're going by like the drill Sergeant Slaughter gimmick, where you haven't quite gone fully sympathizer mode, but you're definitely not the hero. And then you get those boots, you get that care package, Yeah, those boots come out, that flag gets waved, and all of a sudden it's the heat is on, right?
Having Sarge with the Iraqi flag.
Right, yeah.
So he just kept pouring the gas on the fire. So out of nowhere, I'm across the ring, and all of a sudden I hear this whack. I knew that Savage was coming out to distract Macho or the Ultimate Warrior, but I didn't know that he's going to have a scepter with him. And I hear this crunch, and I look up, and Ultimate Warrior is on the second rope, leaning out. His head is outside the ring, and his butt is inside the ring. And I looked over, and I thought, holy cow, what was that? And I look over, and Savage is ducked down so he can't be seen. He crawls around the ring, and off he runs back to the dressing room. So now it's time for me to continue the match, and I went to grab the Warrior to get him off the rope, and he was dead weight. He was knocked out.
Yeah, right.
Knocked out cold. So I finally pulled him back in, and I said, well, I'm not going to let Savage take all the glory and all the heat. So instead of just covering him, I dropped an elbow on him. Then I covered him. 1, 2, 3. Whoa, I was waiting for him to kick out. No kick out. So here I am with a purple belt in the middle of the ring in Miami. And that's when it got a little bit heated. Because that night we had to do the promos for WrestleMania now. Because the winner of the Royal Rumble, who was Hulk Hogan, is always rewarded as the main event in WrestleMania. And you wrestle the champion. And now, of course, they have 2 champions, so there's 2 different winners. You pick on who you want to wrestle. But back then, it was just one champion. Whoever won the Battle Royal was given the title shot, no matter who the champion was at that time. Whoever was the champion at WrestleMania time. So when it was Hogan and I going to WrestleMania 7. So we're doing promos. Gene Okerlund is doing promos, and we're redoing all these promos because we had to change everything. So I'm sitting there kind of half asleep with General Adnan, waiting to do our promos, and Gene Okerlund has a earpiece in. And he goes, ladies and gentlemen, let's, and he starts doing his promo, and then he stops. He goes, what? I can't believe it. I can't believe it, ladies and gentlemen. Sgt Slaughter and General Adnan are in the back of the Miami arena burning the American flag. Can you believe that, ladies and gentlemen? They're burning the American flag. And I said, what did he just say?
Yeah.
He says it again. Can you believe that? So I jumped up. I went in front of the camera. Cut.
Yeah.
And here comes the group. What are you doing? What are you doing? I said, he just said I was burning the American flag out behind the building. Oh, no, you're not doing it. We're just saying you're. No, you're not going to just say you're not going to say anything like that at all. So that's somehow that they made it so when I went cut, they just placed it back and they played it anyway.
Oh, right.
So that's when it really got deep.
Yeah.
That's when it got deep because people thought I was burning the American flag.
Yeah.
I would, and I did, So I finally said, why don't we, because I had full run of what was going on other than what they were feeding the announcers to say. I said, why don't we take Hulk Hogan's T-shirt, put it on a flagpole, and we'll burn that and say that's a part of Americana. And that's That's
a good compromise.
Correct heat. That wasn't the long heat. That was good heat. But still PO'd everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the kind of things that happened back then, And so as far as that purple belt, the next night that night we went out to have something to eat. My manager at that time was Rory Rosegarden. You remember him, Kelly?
I do.
Rory, he ended up being the executive producer of Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh, wow.
He was a big. He was a friend of Ray Romano's, and he managed myself, Lou Albano, and there was another comedian. I can't think of his name right now, but so he was kind of my agent. So we went out after I got done doing all these promos at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And it was kind of a mom and pop's restaurant, kind of like a Denny's or something like that. And we were the only ones in there. And so this girl came over, and I said, "Would you mind giving us some service?" Because we had been sitting there for a while, and we both had to catch airplanes. And she didn't say anything. She ran back to the kitchen. And pretty soon here comes this big, burly guy in a naval cap, a fry cook type of look. Everything he had on was white. And he had a spatula in his hand. And he walked over and he's like tapping the spatula like I would my swagger stick on my hand. And he said, "Is there a problem?" And I said, no problem. My friend and I were wondering if we could eat, order something to eat. And he looked at me and he looked at Rory and he said, he took the spatula and he said, he could eat. And he put the spatula about that far up my nose. And he said, "You're not."
Wow.
He lifted up his T-shirt and he had the naval insignia tattooed on his arm. I said,
"Yeah.
Hey, Roy, I think maybe we ought to go somewhere else."
He might poison you.
We're probably going to get poisoned here. So
Yeah.
that's how quickly it happened, because he was at the show. He was at the matches.
Yeah.
And so when he saw me come in, he told the girl, don't wait on him. And then he came out and did his piece. So that's how it all began. And then, of course, when I got to Philadelphia the next day is when I got the agent said, "Hey, Sarge, good show last night. Congratulations." "Oh, thanks. Here's the black belt. They told me to give you the black belt from here on in." So I kept the purple one.
Yeah.
Nobody seemed to say, "Oh, give me that one." So the agent says, his name was Jay Strongwell. He said, "Have you talked to your wife?" He kind of stuttered a little bit. "You talked to your wife today?" I said, "No, I haven't talked to her." "Did you talk to the Emperor?" Emperor was Vince McMahon.
Right.
"You talked to the Emperor?" "No." "You might want to give them a call." I said, "Is there something wrong? Is there a problem?" No. "I think everything's okay, but you might want to give them a call." We didn't have cell phones, so I go look for a payphone, call Kelly's mom. No answer. I could get the answering machine. And I call Vince. "Oh, yeah, sorry, had a great show last night. I just got back and heading over to the office. But have you spoken to your wife today?" I said, What's wrong with my wife? What's going on with my wife? Is there a problem?" No. This morning I got a call from someone. The office got a call. And because of what happened last night in Miami, they threatened to kill you. And they're going to kill me. And they're going to kill our family.
Yeah.
All of our family. They're going to blow up our houses. And they're going to blow up the office. They're going to blow up the studio, our cars. And as a precautionary measure, I thought I would call your wife. So I know you were in the air.
Yeah.
Tell her maybe she could stay somewhere. I'd put her up in a hotel, her and your daughters. And I said, "Oh, thank you very much." And so I said, "Well, I'll try to get a hold of her." She said, "Well," I said, "is everything okay?" "Oh, yeah, I'm going to have security at your house this afternoon so that I get off the phone. I'll be making some calls." So now I finally get hold of Kelly's mom. "I told you this was not a good idea to be in Iran." Mr. G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
And,
what's
said,
interesting.
I know. She said, "Vince McMahon called me and asked me to leave our house." And what's me to stay at the Leslie's or stay at a hotel or someplace tonight.
We went to a hotel. I remember going to the hotel. I remember which hotel it was.
Yeah.
And I was excited because I got to bring my bathing suit because that's cool.
Yeah. Nice, yeah.
I didn't really know. I was like, "Why we're going to a hotel tonight?" Okay, well.
Hell yeah!
So
what's interesting?
3 days later, I get home, and Kelly will tell you where we lived was not easy to find.
No.
In fact, I bought the house because it was a dirt road, and there was a sign on a tree like this big. It said Walnut Lane. And when we bought the house and I moved there, we moved there, I tore that sign off the tree. I didn't want anybody to even, because we were only 2 houses on that road. There was one house further down, and then we went up a little plateau up to the top of this hill, and that's where our house was. And it was hard just to get a car up there. So
especially in the snow.
Yeah. So I'm coming down the driveway, and I take the left to go up the top of the hill. There's a Winnebago in my driveway. I said, how did that get me up here? I had no idea how it got up there. I mean, it was a wide, big old Winnebago type vehicle. And as soon as I got out of the car, 4 gentlemen come over out of another car, and they were all had suits on, and they came walking over. Mr. Remus? I said, yes. And they all opened up their lapels of their jackets, showed me they were packing weapons. They were carrying weapons. And they said, we have been assigned to walk the perimeter of your property 24/7 until told not to do otherwise.
Wow.
And Kelly will tell you, where we lived, there wasn't anybody getting anywhere up that house to that house unless they're coming up the driveway.
Yeah.
It was all trees, rocks, and woods.
Well, big, huge boulders, and we believe at one point the boulders collapsed in, and it at one point had been like a cave or something, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what you told me and Nicole.
Well,
don't go climbing in the rocks. Yeah.
It's a cave.
We were told that the Native Americans had lived on that land at one time, and that they lived in that cave because there was a stream that ran in front of it. And on top of the rocks, of course, many years ago, they put as many trees, and that's where they lived. That's where they scouted for things and animals.
Right.
And did their whatever they did back then. They sure didn't watch television, I know that, but so anyway, that's another podcast, all the fun stuff that happened in that house.
Yeah, we'll have to do one maybe around like Halloween or Friday the 13th. Yeah. Friday the 13th would be a good one to do. So, Xazyl, I know you were going to say something earlier.
Oh, right. I was going to say what's interesting is Mr. Remus, you've often got a story where if there's a good idea, it's got your wife's support, but if it's a bad idea, she'll say not to do it. And if you do it anyway, she's got an "I told you so" moment. But I guess, if anything, the only one that I've really heard so far that she may have been against that ended up being a good idea was you going into professional wrestling. But after that, I think G.I. Joe was you got a big support from that one to go off and do that. And I'm not surprised that you got a "I told you so" on the Iraqi sympathizer moment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when I came home from Vince's house and told my family around the dinner table what I was going to be doing, my wife looked at me and said, "You can't do that." You're going to get killed.
Right,
You are G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
And people aren't going to go for that. And going to Vince McMahon's house before I found that out, I thought he was going to take G.I. Joe, the real American hero, and make him the real American hero as only he could do. But he had complete opposite ideas. He wanted to be a Iraqi sympathizer.
He was mad at you and was trying to kill you.
Well, maybe that's what it was. What's interesting, on top of that, though, what's interesting is that you didn't come back as a hero and then do a face turn. You literally showed up as a heel.
Yeah.
Straight off the back of GI Joe. There was no turn. It was just
country. I was upset with my country. And
right.
As I said earlier, we wanted to do it nice and slow. Where every week I would say something about what's wrong with our military.
Yeah.
A country like Iraq overtaking Kuwait. What's happened to the United States of America, the most powerful military, and it's supposed to be laid out for like 6 to 8 weeks, and then of course I got the call that Macho Man was hurt, and I had to take his place. So, but I finally got a hold of Diane on the phone, and she was at our friend's. I think she might have been with Kelly and Nicole too at our friend's house, and I said, so how are things going? She says, I told you this wasn't a good idea. I told you it wasn't a good idea. But actually, she was home. She was at home. I got ahead of myself. I was on the road for 3 days before I got home. And when I went upstairs into the kitchen, she was standing there with a rolling pin in her hand. She said, I told you this wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. Those guys down there said they're going to the school with our daughters, and they're going to go with me to the shopping mall. They're going to take me to the grocery store, and they're going to do this, do that, do this, do that. I said, I know. I told them they're not going to. I know. She said, you damn right. They're not going to. We're not changing our life because you're doing this. I said, I know. They're just going to go with me, basically, and protect me, and hopefully be here so nothing happens. That's how kind of everything exploded. And I had to go up, as we talked on earlier shows, how I had to go up to the school. Now, my oldest daughter, Kelly's sister, Nicole, she could care less. She didn't
well, because the kids were older. She was 4 years older, and those kids knew better.
Right, yeah.
So it was different for Nicole because she didn't, and we also were just totally different personalities, but it was just different for us.
Well, poor Kelly, you got no accolades for having a GI Joe as a father, and then you got all the negative side effects of having an Iraqi sympathizer as a father. It's like where were the only perk was what, Disney World?
Yeah, that was the only perk. Disney World and the trips that we used to be able to go on all the time.
Yeah.
To accompany him to these exotic locations because he was wrestling there. It didn't happen a lot, but it did happen sometimes, and it was always fun. But I know, Dad, we've been talking for a while tonight because we also filmed Xazyl's show, and I know you have dinner plans. So let's go ahead and end here. But in our next conversation on here, I want to tackle the Connecticut ghost stories.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I look forward to hearing that one.
Yeah.
That'll be next. I looked for a house. I probably looked at over 60 houses, and I couldn't find a house I liked. But I wanted to live in Weston because my friend and attorney said this is the place to live. You're only 60 miles from New York City. Got a great school system. And I just couldn't find the house I wanted. And when I finally, before I even saw the house, I went down that gravel driveway, as I told you. So when I took that left turn, before I even saw the house, I told my real estate lady, I'll take it. She said, take it. I said, I'll take it. She says, you haven't even seen it yet. I said, I don't care. Something inside me said, this is the house for me.
Yeah.
We'll go through the house.
It was a great house, a beautiful house. I always say that I would move back to Connecticut if I won the lottery. And one of the things I would do would be to buy that house and try to put it back to its original glory, because they made so many changes to it, and I'm just like, no, why? And then some changes, I'm like, yeah, that was good thinking.
Well, if the viewers are watching these episodes in order, the episode before this one will have a little look at that house.
Yes.
We've got some images in there. It looks like a great
Yeah.
home. So yeah, definitely
It
check that
was.
episode out.
Wonderful
For
place
sure.
to,
Thanks, Xazyl.
well, you guys enjoy the rest of your show, and sorry I can't be with you longer.
Oh, that's
It's all right.
okay,
Thank you for
Dad.
having me.
We've had you for a while. We've kept you here for a while, and you too, Xazyl.
Yep.
I appreciate you both being here, and I hope you have an awesome evening, Dad. And
Thank
Xazyl,
you.
I hope you have a good day. But
A
you
good
and I
morning,
are
yeah.
filming.
Just to let
You and I are filming another one.
Just to let Kelly know, I'm just going over to Colony Pizza. That's all.
Dad,
Sorry.
you're so
Rub
mean.
that in. Yeah.
That's a rough. That's a rough 4 or 5 letters.
Yeah.
Colony.
Well,
We'll get into that someday too.
yes.
Don't
And
break
give
the China.
Victor my best.
Don't ship the China.
Don't chip the China. Love you.
Right. Love you.
Love you.
See you
Bye.
later.
Love you. Yo, Joe. And now you know.
And now you know.
Full
Bye,
force.
everybody. Thank you.
Full force.
As you were.